The command to examine your life is directly connected to the construction of the self. I believe that the self is an ongoing project rather than a predetermined object. When I reflect on my life, I see myself gathering materials like experiences, choices, strengths, and failures to construct a better version of myself. This process adds value by transforming a random sequence of events into a meaningful narrative with purpose and direction. It also allows me to see my full potential not as a distant fantasy, but as the next step in my journey. I've learned that my own lack of awareness is often what fuels my mental struggles. When I'm not paying attention, I completely fuse with my anxious thoughts or sad feelings. I become my anxiety instead of seeing it as just a state I'm in. Without that conscious, observing part of myself, my issues run on autopilot and grow unchecked. This blindness hides my own resilient and capable nature from me, making me feel like a passive victim of my own mind instead of the active agent of my own well being. For me, the self is tied to the body because the self is only capable as much as the body is. The self is also formed through the experiences and the interactions of the body with its surrounding. Yet, as I reflect more on this concept, I can see how people believe this because the self has no physical boundaries and isn't really contained in itself. I have always thought that love should be easy because it is ingrained in the human condition to love. Every relationship, romantic or platonic, experiences hardships, but not to the extent of suffering. A love that comes with suffering is not a love that is worth it. Or maybe I haven't experienced a love that is worth suffering for. Understanding that the brain is not like the mind is like learning the difference between a car and a driver. The car, which is a physical thing with its own quirks, like being impulsive, extroverted, or shy, is the brain, while the mind is the driver who observes those quirks and chooses how to respond. This means that we aren't really defined by every passing thought or feeling, but instead how we learn to steer them. I realize that everybody has the power to train their brain, build better habits, and not be a passenger to their own emotions. Society doesn't really practice dualism because it is bad for business. Dualism states that we must separate ourselves from the material things of the world, and that is against the principle of capitalism. If companies practice dualism, people would not buy anything, which would diminish the capitalistic society. The only way people buy things is for society to sell a YOLO lifestyle. I myself am guilty of this mindset, like all young adults are. So we should practice a dualistic perspective to preserve our mind and our money. The idea that my thoughts can influence the physical world starts with the understanding that they first influence me. My thoughts directly shape my actions. Like if I think I can succeed, I take a bold steps. If I think I'll fail, I'll hold myself back. By choosing my focus and attitude, I am literally using my mind to build the reality I live in, making my internal world the most powerful tool I have. For me, faith is the ultimate commitment of myself to something beyond pure evidence. It's the quiet, unwavering belief I hold when my doubts are loudest, giving me a foundation of courage and purpose that logic alone can't provide. This deep truth doesn't just live in my mind, it becomes the core of who I am, guiding my choices and shaping my entire perspective on life. I used to think all my choices were completely my own, but now I see there's always a crowd influencing me. The voices of my parents, my friends, and past experiences are all in my head, quietly shaping my decisions and actions. Understanding this helps me separate my true self from the noise so I can finally figure what I really want. Normalizing what is right is about me making my inner values my outer normal. It means I consciously choose to make integrity, kindness, and courage my default setting, so they become my automatic response instead of a difficult choice. By doing this, I actively build a stronger and more authentic version of myself, one where doing the right thing feels natural because it's who I am. I now see that the groups I'm part of, like my family, my friends, my culture, have shaped my deepest self. Their unspoken rules, values, and traditions have become the invisible lens through which I see the world and my place in it. To truly understand who I am, I need to recognize which of my beliefs are truly mine and which were handed to me by the crowd. Understanding that respect doesn't mean acceptance has been crucial for defining my own self. It means I can honor someone's right to a different opinion without betraying my own core values. This boundary projects my inner truth, allowing me to engage with the world without feeling pressured to compromise who I am. It's the balance that lets me be both strong in my convictions and peaceful in my interactions.